Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Cinemaxxers podcast. I'm Joseph, and I'm here with my co-host Adam and Yoni. And today we are doing another draft. This time we are doing a trilogies draft. We will only be taking four this time instead of five, just because there's a little bit less volume to work with. But without further ado, we're going to get into it.
All right. So as per usual, to decide who gets first, second, and third pick, we are going to be
Wait,
doing.
wait. We're
uh,
gonna cut this also. It's changed to four each instead of five each.
yeah.
You're good. All right, go for it again.
Okay. As per usual, to decide the order of the draft, we will be spinning a wheel. So I think I've gotten first pick both drafts we've done,
We've had the
but
same order
let's see
every
what
time.
happens here.
Wait, that's not true. I got first pick last time.
And Joseph will get it again, first pick, and I know exactly what's going to be taken.
This is the best one to get first pick on by
This is
Yes.
the
far.
worst. I was
This
praying
is
I
the
didn't get
best one
first
to
on
get
this one
first
because I
pick
knew
on.
what you
No,
guys would
this is
pick,
the
and I was never
best.
picking
You
it.
want first pick here.
I'm
Move it.
praying for third pick. No. All right,
Okay.
I'll take second, but I was hoping for third.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? I'm guaranteed what I want. Let's go. We'll take it. This is
Uh,
actually the dream.
I think there's a pretty clear top two.
I think there's a clear top one.
I think
Yeah,
there's a
I,
clear
I,
top two, and
I
I think there's
agree.
a clear top one, but it's not the one you're thinking of,
Well,
Joseph.
yeah, because you haven't seen it. But the clear
Put my
top
name in there,
one,
Tony.
which I'm taking, is
Hold up, hold up.
oh
Let's.
wait a second, yeah, I guess. But
All
I
right, so
think
this
we
is
all
the
know.
order. It's going to be a snake draft, so it'll go one, two, three, and then it'll obviously just go backwards. So, Joseph, you're up first.
I'm just gonna write it
Yeah,
down.
I am. This isn't a surprise, but I'm taking the Lord of the Rings trilogy from Peter Jackson. You're laughing performatively. You've never seen it, and it's
I'm
widely
laughing
considered the
because you
greatest
you
trilogy
you
ever
you
for a good
you passed
reason.
on the greatest trilogy ever, but okay.
The prequels don't count, and they're also not that good of a trilogy, because I know that's what you're gonna say.
You
No,
actually
that's
think I'm
not.
picking the prequels?
No, I know what you're picking. It's obvious. I won't say it yet. We all know.
Yeah, we're on
But
Lord of the Rings.
anyways, I think for Lord of the Rings to talk about it,
And
I have
just to
all
make
of
it
these
clear for
movies at five
everyone,
stars.
Yoni and Joseph have both watched this. I have not, so I'm going to stay out of this conversation, but this one's going to stay spoiler free. So you guys feel free and watch this even if you haven't watched Lord of the Rings, because I have not either. So continue.
I have all three movies at five stars. I think all three of them are masterpieces. I think they still hold up looks wise. They look incredible. The scale, the sets, cinematography, the score, everything about these movies are perfect. The performances, just the how the story carries on from one movie to the next. Because really, it's like almost like a super long like movie that's like 10 hours long because
So
all three
it doesn't
movies
like time jump in
continue
between
on.
movies.
Um,
Not really, no.
I mean, I just think as a trilogy, it's the most cohesive, it's the best, and all three movies individually have some incredible peaks and are just incredibly consistent throughout. So yeah, easy pick for me.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It would be my number one pick, pretty easily. I need to give it a rewatch if I'm going to be totally honest, but these movies are really perfect. I also have all three at a five star. I seriously think that they're masterpieces. Everything about them, the characters, the behind the scenes, the technical work. It's such a great adaptation, and it's such a great trilogy. Like they work so well together. My favorite's probably Return of the King, and then maybe I switch between Fellowship and the Two Towers, but they're all three five stars for me. So yeah, good pick, Joseph. Really wish I got that first pick, but I think it's still anyone's game.
All right. So yeah, Lord of the Rings is very high up on my watch list. I just have to dedicate the time for it, but I'm sure I'll eventually do that. Maybe in between when like, the in between college and all of that stuff. So,
It's a
but
good thing to watch all three, like really get into
I've
them.
heard that, watch them like at least like day after another. If not, some people say back to back to back, but I'm like, there's no way I can just dedicate
I mean,
myself
you
to
can watch them however you want, but I'm just saying, like, it works well if you watch them. Like, if you're like three movies that you watch, like, you don't have movies in between them. Like, you go from
it. Yeah.
Fellowship to Two Towers to
Yeah.
Return of the King. I watched Return of the King on on a plane. I've seen like a ton of other. I gotta rewatch it. Return of the King. Like, I remember it very well, but I didn't get like an like a great experience like I did with the other two. Like, I'll rewatch it with my siblings probably. But I remember all three like very well.
All right. Well, again, I only laughed at that pick, not because it was a bad pick. I've never watched it, but because he passed on the greatest trilogy ever,
No,
the Dark Knight
no.
trilogy by the greatest director of all time, Christopher Nolan. The Dark Knight trilogy is the definition of a masterpiece. Um, I'm just going to start by saying the second of the two, obviously the strongest. The Dark Knight, just the Dark Knight is unbelievable. It has the greatest performance ever. But we've talked about The Dark Knight plenty. So I think we're going to pivot and we're going to talk about the two movies that people would be like, the reason this can't be the greatest trilogy ever is because the first and the third movie aren't up to the quality of the second. And I would agree that they're not up to the quality of the second, but I would disagree of anyone that would say that The Dark Knight Rises and then obviously Batman Begins, the first one are very, very good movies, and I'm pretty sure I have both at 4 stars. I might have one at a four with a like. And I think that's because Batman Begins is such an unbelievable origin story. And if you're just a comic book fan in general, again, we're probably going to stay spoiler free throughout most of this, but most people have seen this trilogy. But even if not, if you're just a comic book or superhero, like if you're an MCU fan, this is a completely different take on comic books. And just this revolutionized, and this trilogy revolutionized superhero movies. It showed that they could be made seriously and that they could be made by a world-class director like Christopher Nolan and that they could be huge phenomenon events. Like again, I wasn't alive for Batman Begins and I obviously didn't see the other two in theaters, but from what I've heard, these were huge events. Everyone was going to see these movies because one, it's Christopher Nolan even though he was still coming up. But two, who doesn't like Batman? Everyone's going to go and see a Batman movie. And I think it can be so grim at times. I think all but maybe one or maybe two villains, and again, there's a lot of villains in these three movies are great. I think it has two of the greatest villains ever in Joker and Bane. I think they're both unbelievable. The acting throughout is probably the best acting you'll ever see in superhero movies. I just think the performances are so top notch. And as a trilogy, it comes together very nicely. You have the origin story, you have the best movie, and then you have the ending, even though it's kind of ambiguous, but you have the ending. And it just comes together so beautifully in the greatest trilogy ever.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good pick. I definitely wouldn't call this the greatest trilogy ever, but it's a very good pick. Um, Obviously, you have The Dark Knight that kind of carries it. Not that kind of carries it. Yeah, I feel like I can say that. But no, Batman Begins, great origin story, very comic accurate for the first part. I mean, I feel like there's an argument to be made. Like, if you were to split these up into like hour increments, like the first hour of Batman Begins is like, it's like
It's really,
super, super good. Great origin story. Um, I love Christian Bale's Batman also. I know that some people like kind of have mixed feelings about him, but I really do think he's a great Batman and a like excellent Bruce Wayne. So yeah, no, definitely on my board. Uh, really great pick.
I actually haven't heard it put
Um,
that way, but I'm very on board. He's an unbelievable Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, I think he's maybe a better Bruce Wayne than he is a Batman, but that's
Yeah,
kind
he
he
of
is
is
easily a
definitely.
better Bruce Wayne than he's a
Yeah,
Batman. I
yeah.
think, I mean, we can get into this at some point if we discuss Batman versus Dark Knight in terms of like what's better about them and what's worse. But I would say Bale is definitely the better Bruce Wayne, and I think Pattinson is the better Batman. But um, about the trilogy in general, I think it's a very good pick. Probably would have been my second pick or my first round pick if I didn't get number one. Um, the only reason I think it's a bit below Lord of the Rings is that I think it lacks some of the cohesiveness as a trilogy that the Lord of the Rings trilogy lacks. I think the peak of Dark Knight is on the same level as the Lord of the Rings trilogy, no doubt. I think that Batman Begins and certainly Dark Knight Rises are kind of a step below those. But you know, you can't fault this pick. I think it's a very good pick. So,
yeah.
Yeah. All right, we can move on to
So I'm
Yoni's.
quite
You got
happy.
two picks here, Yoni.
Very happy I get the 2-3 turn here. I think that there were a lot of trilogies that will be coming up that you guys are going to take.
Want to go on the Google Doc?
Um, I have to take it. Star Wars episodes 4, 5, and 6, the original Star Wars. I just have to take it.
Damn it! I actually thought that, as crazy as it sounds, I thought that was gonna fall to me.
No
I really
chance.
did.
but would you have actually taken it? Like honestly?
Oh, I would have slid. Those are my top two by a good amount.
Okay.
No chance. What
What?
starting off with? This, just A New Hope. I mean, it's titled Star Wars here, but I'm just gonna call it A New Hope. What a special movie. I mean, completely reinvented the sci-fi genre. Like every part of this movie just works so well. It's so iconic, every part. Um, and then you have Empire, like arguably one of the best movies ever. Then The Last Jedi, or The Return of the Jedi, which I think
Bro said The Last Jedi. Kick him off for that, bro.
I think it sums up the trilogy well enough. I think it's definitely the weakest of the three, but the throne room scene with Vader and Palpatine and Luke, it really sums up the entire trilogy nicely. I really think it, like The Lord of the Rings, this works very, very well together. Not saying that The Dark Knight doesn't, but I think this works better as a trilogy
I
compared
wouldn't argue that. Yeah.
compared to The Dark Knight.
Uh-huh.
And then with my other pick,
Wait, can we first discuss the original trilogy real quick?
yeah,
Um, so for the
actually,
original,
Adam, I know what you think. I
no,
want
no,
to.
no, no, no. Let me say it. Let me
Maybe
say
I
it.
don't. Maybe I don't.
Because I've been a bit critical in past episodes, but we're talking about it as a trilogy and what it did in general for my favorite franchise, even though it, in my opinion, doesn't have the best movie out of all of them, but it's much more consistent than the prequels. Um, this movie, A New Hope or Star Wars, whatever you want to call it, and then obviously Return of the Jedi, are objectively better than the first two prequels, and I can fully admit that. I will say I have a few issues with them. I think A New Hope is a little bit too slow. But again, that's my opinion. A lot of people disagree. I just think some of the desert scenes and some of the scenes with R2 and C3PO are a bit too slow. And then Return of the Jedi, my main issue is why is it, and this is mainly an issue with if you've watched like Andor and Rogue One, the sacrifices that were had to take down the first Death Star, and there's just a Death Star 2 that's 5 times as big. It would just felt too lazy to me. I also didn't love the Ewoks. That's a very popular critique. Wasn't a fan. But again, the Return of the Jedi, you don't remember it for the Death Star 2 or the Ewoks. You remember it for the throne scene on the Death Star 2. So it's a great trilogy, and it's my second favorite trilogy ever.
I feel like the Ewoks is like I don't really like have that. I don't really like have a strong feeling about them. Like
Why are they defeating stormtroopers? I'm sorry. They
they're
just
kind of just the filler B plot in that movie. And same
yeah.
with the 40-minute like Jabba the Hutt sequence.
I
But
mean, Princess Leia. It was like kind of that was like George Lucas like creep era, bro. Like what was that? It's
I
yeah,
mean, I agree with you. I'm with you on the Return of the Jedi criticism because I think it's the weakest of the OT. I also think that like, do you agree with that? Compared to the first two, compared to A New Hope and Empire, uh, Return of the Jedi almost has like a kids movie vibe for a
yeah.
lot of it
A
compared
lot of
to
it's because of the
first two.
Jabba the Hutt and the Ewoks. Like it feels a
kids
little,
movie in the besides the Princess Leia parts.
yeah. But
But
it
yeah,
feels like it kind of doesn't exactly know which route it wants to go because you have very serious moments filled with like a lot of emotional depth
yeah.
with Palpatine and Vader. And
And
the
I think
and then
hating
you
on
also have
Return
the opposite of like
yeah.
kids like campy Ewok. So it's kind of like convoluted a little
I
bit.
think the
Nothing
Return of the
really fun.
Jedi, this is a phrase you use a lot, Joseph. I think the pendulum has swung a little bit too far on the back to the other end. People loved it, and I think the hate has started as of like the last like 5 years. That just might be me, but like
I think it's
I
a
feel
fair
like
take.
I've seen a lot more, and I think it's just going a bit too far because you just can't overlook how good of an ending there we've seen from so many movies and trilogies in general that they're just messing up the endings. I mean, there's so many trilogies we would put on here if the last one was just garbage, and it just does such a good job of tying it with the
Yeah.
ultimate sacrifice of Vader killing. I mean, and then the
Yeah.
sequels ruining it, but
Yeah.
that's a different discussion.
Yeah. That is a very different.
Good
Yeah.
pick. All right.
Um,
All right, Yoni, your next pick.
all right. So there's a few that I would maybe pick over this that I think you guys are gonna
This is
like.
where it gets tough for me.
I
I think
think
I
that
know
you
what you're picking
guys
here based on what you're saying, but
part of the reason I'm picking this is because I know you guys have this very high valued, and so do I. I think it's an
Don't
amazing
do it.
trilogy.
he's doing it.
The
He's
Planet of
doing
the
it.
Apes.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually, I'm not. That's not the one I was
That
thinking.
was that was my number three overall, I believe.
Really?
Obviously, the ones with Caesar for people watching, and I know there's a lot of Planet of the Apes movies, but this is a
Good
really,
pick. The damn
this is a
good pick.
really, really great.
That's a banger 1-2 turn right there.
What's the first one called? Rise?
Rise of the
Rise,
Planet of
yeah.
the
It's
Apes.
actually my least favorite by a considerable amount.
No, that's my favorite.
I find it just a little bit more boring and kind of I find it a little bit more boring in terms of the plot compared to the other two. I
I think the
enjoy
plot's the best by a good amount.
no,
It's
it's
how
just
the apes came to be and how the I think the plot's
I think
by
there's
far
some
the best.
cliches in the plot, to be
I
honest.
like that.
I think it's a
I
good
think this is just
movie.
a little bit of a simpler movie compared to the other two, and I just really enjoyed the like complexity of humans versus apes, especially in Dawn in the other two. Like I feel
Yeah.
like this is just kind of like not like a TV show episode, but it kind of has the plot of like a TV show like flashback
That's
episode
why I love it.
where it's
Do
kind of
you
I do really like it. I really like this. Like
do you prefer Dawn or War
I
then?
prefer Dawn. Dawn's my favorite.
Okay, so we're in agreement with that.
I have
I think
Dawn
it's
second.
clearly the best of the three.
And then Dawn is really good. Koba's an incredible villain.
Yeah. I also think Woody
Oh,
Harrelson as like the
yeah, as the Huey.
Colonel in the third one is a great villain. But I
Yeah.
think the movie overall, because I rewatched this a bit over the whole trilogy a bit over a year ago, I do think the third one is by a slight margin my least favorite. Um,
I remember
but I still
really
think it's a good
liking the
movie.
third, but also kind of having some like I kind of had some issues with it. I don't 100% remember like what I disliked. I'd probably have to give it a rewatch, but something about it felt a little off and like a little bit too like easy.
I think it's a bit rushed at the beginning for the first half of the movie, from what I can remember.
When did they get to like being imprisoned? Like
Like,
like
I don't
how
think it takes that long, honestly.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't
I
put
still
it.
think it's good.
Yeah, no, I still do think it's really good. Um Obviously the heart and soul of this movie is Caesar. And he's really great character.
The heart and soul of this trilogy is Caesar. It's obvious he's the main character in all three. I
It'll
Shout
be
out
in-
Maurice, though.
it'll be interesting to
shout
see.
out Koba. Shout out Koba.
It'll be interesting to see if there's like continued if there's another trilogy with
Yeah,
after.
why are they doing Kingdom was just fine. Like I'm not gonna
I
hate
didn't
on
see
it.
Kingdom.
We're not talking about Kingdom right here.
I didn't
We can go
watch
to
King.
War.
Like
You can
I
move
don't
on to
really
War if you want,
I don't
but
really want to watch like Planet of the Apes without Caesar, even though I plan on watching the original, but that's kind of for different reasons.
I do not. And
Um
then War for the Planet of the Apes. I feel like it was just a sick movie. If we want to talk about sick movies, like it had great action. It was
yeah,
really sick.
I really liked it.
Fair
Also
take.
that one monkey that was like kind of there for just comedic purposes.
Yeah.
Oh, what was his name?
You know what I'm talking about, the really
He's
Yeah, I
scary.
know
fun
exactly who
fact,
you're
he's
talking
voiced
about.
by the dad in Diary of a Wimpy Kid
Oh, yeah.
by Frank Heffley.
I don't know.
Talk about good casting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
But
a
no,
great
I
pick,
thought that
Tony.
was like a little bit too forced of comedic humor in like a very dark setting.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Planet of the Apes, great trilogy. I know that you two had it pretty high on your board, and I kind of have some things that I think are sleepers. So
Okay.
Yeah, after the Planet of the Apes, the rest of mine are sleepers. So my original plan here was go something that I think would go, but I'm gonna be 100% honest. I think all of my next three aren't on your board.
okay,
Well, we
well,
know it's one. I know one of them for sure.
No, you don't.
We know I know one which is in your in on your board that's not going to be on our boards.
No, you
I'm
don't.
not saying you're going to
I'm
pick
not
it
picking the
here.
prequels, guys. I'm
Really?
serious. All
You're
my life, I'm
seriously
not
not
picking
picking
the
the
prequels. The
prequels?
first two are
But
not
you have a
great.
movie at five
I do have a
in a
movie at five.
trilogy.
I do have a movie at five, but that I can't do it.
Okay. Well, I actually respect that. So,
Yeah, no, this is not like a troll. I would pick them right now if I wanted to. I'm just gonna go straight from my favorite trilogies down from here because I don't think you're picking. Never mind. I take that back. I'm gonna pick one that there's a chance Joseph picks, and then I'm gonna pick my next two as like my favorites. This one is not my second favorite trilogy ever. It's not my third favorite, but I do think there's a small chance it can go. And Joseph, I could snag Guardians from you right here, but I'm not doing it. I'm going. You're very lucky. I'm not gonna be annoying like Tony with Nolan. I'm going with I hope you guys don't give me any backlash. Captain America. I'm going the first Avenger, Winter
okay.
Soldier,
I
Civil
was
War.
not
I mean,
expecting that.
I had it on my board, but kind of low down.
Yeah, Captain
But
America, First Avenger, Winter Soldier, Civil War.
I don't think you have to put the, I
Yeah,
guess
I
because you're
mean,
not
yeah,
including,
yeah,
everyone
yeah,
knows the original.
yeah. You can go
The
for that.
first
So,
America
yeah,
trilogy.
just go Captain America
Yeah.
trilogy. No, no one counts that.
Because the
A New Way. I
the
didn't
new
even
one
watch
is
that
like
one
its
either.
own thing.
Yeah,
It's
that
not
doesn't
with Steve
same. Yeah, that
Rogers.
doesn't count.
You could just write Captain America, Steve Rogers, or something.
Dude, I think everyone knows what we're referring
I
Okay.
to.
just
All
think
right.
of like
So Captain America for me has my favorite MCU movie in Civil War. It's 5 stars. It's just my favorite MCU movie. I've talked about it way too much on this channel, so I'm not going to. I'm going to talk about the first two because we haven't actually discussed these very much. I think the first Avenger is one of the more underrated MCU movies out there. I think I have it at
I
four
fully
stars.
agree. I fully
It,
agree.
it it has
Very
such
underrated.
a great backstory. It's like the one of the few MCU movies that feels like it's a real life movie and not superheroes until the super serum. Like a lot like Iron Man even felt a little bit superficial even before he gets captured with like the I thought it was just a straight he's a guy, he wanted to be a part of the war effort. He becomes very valiant and it has the cliches, the jumping on the grenade, all of that. But I think it's just such a great origin story. And then once you get past the origin part and you go into the Red Skull and you go into the Tesseract and then obviously the end credit scene, which is unbelievable in
What's
that's one of my favorite parts of the
the end
movie.
credit scene? What's
What? The end
the
credit scene is where he wakes up
He
and
wakes up.
then he walks outside and he sees New York for the first time.
Oh
I,
yeah,
I will I will say it's interesting you mentioned Red Skull because I think that's one of the weakest parts of this movie. I don't think
That's
he's
what
a
I,
very
yeah,
good villain.
you could argue, but I thought the Red Skull was great. I don't think it's better than the first half. But I think the first half was the better part.
I agree.
But I liked the Red Skull as a villain, and I liked his assistant too, like the little guy. You know who I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah.
I liked his assistant. I thought he was a great character. I don't have too much to say about this movie besides really that, but the Winter Soldier for me, it just gets better as it goes on. You have a 4 star, a 4.5 star, and a 5 star. It just keeps getting better. And I
the
think the
vintage version.
dynamic between I think that this is a 4.5 star for me in the Winter Soldier. I think the dynamic between Bucky and Steve is just so unbelievable. He's so menacing, the Winter Soldier. Like it's his theme song, the scene where he catches the vibranium shield, like it just catches everyone off guard. You have the plot to assassinate Nick Fury in that movie that a lot of people forget about. A really good plot of that movie. Um, I just think this is such a strong trilogy. It's not better that it's not. Maybe I do have it above my next one. So yeah, I'm gonna say this is probably my third or fourth favorite trilogy, my fourth favorite trilogy ever behind The Dark Knight and the two that Yoni picked. So
I
I'm a
mean,
huge fan.
for me, yeah, Winter Soldier is my favorite of the three, by a good margin. I think it's probably definitely top five MCU movie for me, possibly top three.
Yeah,
I think this is probably the second best trilogy in the MCU. Like if we're just going by like the
I know
three
you're
movie
Guardians. Yeah,
arc.
I know.
But that's still like pretty good for a franchise that has quite a few trilogies, but most of them are very good to be honest. So, um, yeah, I mean, it's your personal opinion on this,
Yeah,
I'm not surprised. So,
it's fair.
you know, yeah, that's what I have to say. I don't have that much to say. I feel like we've talked about Civil War a lot, so.
Yeah. All right, Joseph, 2-3 turn.
Okay, I'm very happy. I thought one of these was gonna get taken, but I'm
Guardians.
happy I get both here. So the first one I'm going with, um, I'll just go with the one that's I could go with the other one here as well, but I'm gonna go with the one that you kind of mentioned. I will go with the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy with my second pick. I think it's clearly the best trilogy in the MCU in my opinion, as a cohesive unit. Where I would say, if you want to argue the Captain America, I get it. However, I think the third movie is too much of an Avengers movie, as opposed to a cohesive ending to the Captain America saga, if that makes.
See, it is for the first part until you get to the end when it's Bucky and Cap versus Iron Man. And
I
then it
see what
all
you're
relates
saying,
back
but I
to
think
Iron
it's the
Man and
movie
Dad
as a
being good,
whole.
I guess. But yeah,
Guardians
it's
1 is my favorite MCU movie, and it is a little bit close with Infinity War, but those are definitely my top two. I think it's very funny, even though I've seen it like probably like 10 times. It's heartfelt, the characters are good, their relationships seem real, and they're not forced, in my opinion. Ronan as a villain is like questionable at times, like he's kind of generic. I personally kind of like him, or think at least he works as this intimidating kind of just evil villain.
he's very generic. But
But I
that's not what
agree
this
he's not a
this
great
movie
villain.
this movie's a comedy in my opinion. That's my take on this. This
Would you
movie's
like it though?
yeah, yeah, no, I like this movie. I think I have it four and a like, but it's a comedy in my opinion. I don't think of this as really a I don't
I
know.
mean,
I think
sure.
if you're calling this a comedy, you have to call almost every single MCU movie after this a comedy. Because every single one is, except for
It's kind
But
of
this does it
Civil
started.
War
well. That's the
isn't, to be
difference.
fair.
This has great humor. The other
Yeah,
ones
but
are
I'm saying
garbage.
a lot of movies
This
try
kind of
to
started
imitate
like
what Guardians do and what
constant
Thor
jokes and
Ragnarok did, and
references.
it failed.
I feel like this kind of started constant jokes and constant like comedic
It thought because
characters.
this
I
did
think
it
if
well, other
anything,
ones
Thor
could.
Ragnarok was worse for because Guardians as a franchise was always set up to be this kind of bantery comedic group.
Yeah.
Thor Ragnarok being taking a serious character, even though I like the movie a lot, but for what it did to the MCU and what the directors tried to
Yeah.
do, taking a serious character and making him like a slapstick Joker, which I think works in the movie itself, Thor
But
Ragnarok,
as a
but
whole, yeah.
as a repeated kind of
It
process that they
doesn't
try to
work
do,
out
I
there.
don't think it's
Also,
worked.
Thor, like it caused Thor Love and Thunder to be like a
Oh my God,
Or
don't
just
even
a
mention
joke
Thor Love and
fest.
Thunder,
Yeah,
I
man.
wanted to
extremely.
walk out of the theater when I was watching Thor Love and
I'm
Thunder.
so
Like,
happy I didn't watch it in the
I'm not
theater.
even joking. I was so mad.
Um, okay, and then I'll touch on Guardians 2 and 3. Guardians 2 is the worst in the trilogy, but I still think it's a good movie. I think it has some problems, but I still enjoy it. I know some people think it's terrible or don't really like it. I know that's not like a like some people do have that opinion that it's one of
This
the
is the
worst.
reason why I picked Captain America over it. I just can't get on with this movie at
And
all.
then Guardians 3 is one that at first I wasn't sure how I felt about it, but the I think I watched it again one or two more times and it grew
Three
on me a
stars,
lot.
Yoni? What the?
And I think it is one of the better MCU movies for sure. Definitely top
Easily.
10, possibly top 5. Probably the most emotional, strong, or with probably Endgame as the strongest emotional movie, but definitely I think it's more mature and the way it handles its emotional scenes than Endgame in that sense. Endgame just has more build up, but
I'll be honest, Rocket's emotional scenes is probably the most emotional I've like in terms of sad emotion I've had in the MCU. It's just like it's executed so well. In my opinion, it's one of the like it carries this movie, but it's so good that it carried it to like a 4 star. I'm curious why you have this as a 3 star, Yoni. I
I
can
don't
see why you
really.
had two as a 3 star, but
I think the Rocket stuff is really is great. I also Rocket like might be my favorite member in the Guardians group, but I really don't like what they did with Adam Warlock in this. Adam Warlock, for you guys who don't know, in the comic books, he's a major part of the Infinity Saga, and that's like the Infinity War and Endgame. Like that Infinity Saga is the equivalent of like Infinity War and Endgame, and he was like the main hero in Infinity in the comics for the Infinity Saga, and they made him into a complete joke for this. I really didn't like what they did with Adam Warlock. It reminded me a little bit of you remember Joseph, do you remember the screaming goats in
yeah, in Love
Thunder?
and Thunder.
It reminded me a lot of it in here because he just kind of shows up whenever for comedic purposes when he's like an extremely powerful and important like character. Like that's what he should be. I really don't like what they did with Warlock here. I was also really excited going into it knowing that he was in the movie. And like I think the Rocket stuff is good. I really do think that's like some of the best stuff in the Guardians trilogy. But I just don't think anything else in this movie is really like that great. I feel like what's the villain's name? The what's his name?
See, this is where I mean it's the what's his name? High
is this the
Evolutionary.
gold guy?
The high
No,
no,
it's the High Evolutionary.
Adam Warlock's the gold one. The high
Okay, okay.
evolutionary
I think
is
the Evolutionary is one of the best MCU villains ever.
I really, really don't think that's
I
a
think you guys need to rewatch this movie. I think he's one of the most complex MCU villains easily, and one of the most menacing. I think I always forget the actor's name. If you scroll down, he's also in Peacemaker. Um, no, not that far up. Chukwudi Iwuji, I think he gives easily a top f 3 or 5 MCU villain performance in this movie. I guess that's where we disagree. I think I didn't even know this was. I'm pretty sure most people agree with me on this. Again, not that that matters, but I didn't know this was like a take people had that
I
they
think
don't
that's
like.
kind of a crazy take. I really don't like him in the movie. I also don't really love screaming villains, and I feel like the only time that he like explains himself is when he's like screaming and yelling at like his uh his like henchmen. Also, I don't really have that much of a problem with this, but in the trailers they kind of said like like the gang's last ride, and they kind of hinted at someone dying. I don't like want MCU characters to die, but um, this movie just wasn't exactly what I thought it would be, besides the Rocket emotional part. And besides that, it really disappointed for me.
What I will say is I think James Gunn got handed a bad like Infinity War and Endgame screwed James Gunn because he wasn't told Gamora was what was going to happen to Gamora.
Yeah,
So that
also
kind of
Gamora
threw off the momentum of the trilogy in my opinion, but I think he recovered well.
and
And
Drax becomes irrelevant in my opinion in these
I
movies.
don't agree with this. I think he's an important role in this movie.
I
Absolutely.
really I don't remember a single scene where he's not just comedic purposes. When
I
he's in
think I
stuff, it's
at the
like
end when he's like helping with the children. Like he learns that, I mean, it shows that his role is he's meant to be a father, not a warrior. And that at the end he finally dances to show that he's kind of like accepted, like he's become to terms with his loss and that he's willing to move on in life. And fulfill their role as a father to the orphaned kids at the end.
I don't know. I don't think
For,
that.
yeah, for me, my bone to pick with this trilogy is not three, it's two. I just
I can
think
talk about two also.
I
I'm on
think I think I
the.
think ego is just kind of pointless and dumb. I mean, like the fact he's that powerful and he loses is crazy to me. Yes, I watched the movie and I know how he lost, but it for me, it's just not very. It's not that interesting of a plot to me. I get it's his dad.
Like I feel like with two, the best parts of this movie is that one scene with Rocket and Yondu escaping and Baby Groot escaping the like the lair that they're
Baby
trapped.
Groot's one of the best part of this movie.
And Baby Groot's one of the best part of this movie. And if Baby Groot's one of the best part of the movie, you have some problems. I think Ego's really meh. Um, Once again, I feel like Drax is left out. I feel like he doesn't get the attention that he deserves, and he might be my
I
favorite
agree in this
Guardian
movie. I
character.
don't agree in three. In this movie, I agree
How can he be your favorite
to an
Guardian
extent.
character?
I really liked him
It's
how
not
he
even
was.
top three for me.
I really liked how he was introduced, and
Star-Lord, Gamora, and Rocket all solo.
I really like Drax. I like Groot also, but I really like Drax. I like Drax and Rocket, but.
Again, I
Um,
feel like we're being a bit too critical because I have this as one of my
No,
next
I
picks.
like all movies.
This is an amazing trilogy. It's
Yeah.
just it has some problems.
I think Guardians 1 is the best MCU movie. I'm on the same board as Joseph here. Guardians 2 and 3 for me, they're good. A 3-star for me is a good movie, but it didn't do as much for me.
All right. And then the other one, which I was considering taking with at two, I thought Yoni might have taken this at two, but uh, like
Was
I
I
didn't
ever
think he
gonna take
was,
this?
no, you were not going to take this. I'm taking the Indiana Jones trilogy.
I'm not gonna
I'm actually
lie.
really happy
I'm
that
gonna
I
preface this by
that.
saying I watched the first one 10 years ago. I'm not even gonna comment on this because I don't remember a lick from Indiana Jones. So you two can
I'm
go.
actually happy you took that because I would have felt like I was forced to take that because it's such a good trilogy. But and I like all movies a lot, but I don't like love Indiana Jones. I don't know. I don't have like the
What
same.
did you just search? Indiana Temples of Doom. Just search like in Raiders of
Just
the
look up
Lost Ark.
Indiana Jones.
I don't really love. No, I like Indiana Jones a lot, but I'm kind of happy.
So
I would have
Raiders of the Lost Ark
Don't go into too
is
many spoilers because I'm gonna rewatch these because I
I
watched like the
won't.
first three.
Raiders of the Lost Ark is a 4.5 for me, a high 4.5. Definitely in my top like 25-ish movies of all time, which is very high. And I think it's the best adventure movie of all time. I think Indiana Jones, just from like a character perspective, not necessarily as from a complexity perspective, but as just a cool character across the franchise, is one of the best characters of all time. Also, I think part of that is just Harrison Ford is just perfect casting as Indiana Jones. I think this is Steven Spielberg's best movie, the first one. So that's like this is the anchor in the trilogy for me is Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Thoughts on
Temple
the
of
Dial
Doom
of
is the
Destiny?
weakest point in the trilogy, but I still think it's a good movie in my opinion. I think there are some parts of it that are a bit questionable looking at it now, like they haven't aged the best, but at the same time, some of the sequences are super cool and it still has so much of the Indiana Jones charm. I like Short Round, who's played by Ke Huy Quan, is like the kid in this. He's funny, and Ke Huy Quan is like a child actor was funny, and obviously like he's a good actor as a grown up too. And then Last Crusade. I'm not as high on this as some people who have it as the best movie in the franchise. I still think it's a very good movie, the second best in the franchise. Without spoiling, the reason I don't like this movie as much is the love interest slash female lead in this movie alongside Indiana Jones. And I just don't like her character, to be honest, and it kind of detracts from it. However, if that was a bit better, this would be in contention with the first one for me because it has so many of the same highs, and I do like Indiana Jones's father in this movie as like a additional character. And I
Yeah.
think this has probably the best villain in the franchise, I would say.
You
Or
remind me who the villain is again?
it's like the guy, I mean, I don't remember his name, but he's the guy who's in search of the Grail with as long with Indiana, and he's working with the what's it called? He's also working with the Nazis to do it, I think, or the Nazis.
Adam, you haven't seen these, or you have nothing really to
I
say?
saw like one and a half of these like 7, 8 years ago, and I don't remember a thing. So I'm just go. I mean, I don't even think I have them logged. I'm just gonna rewatch them.
Yeah, I have Raiders at a 4.5 also. I think it's the best like pure adventure movie ever. I mean, I don't think it's the best Spielberg. I think Schindler's List is the best, but I think that there's like I would maybe have Jurassic Park or E.T. higher than this, but like if somebody says this is the best Spielberg, I have like no issues at all. There could be like five movies that are his best. But Joseph pretty much summed up my thoughts for Raiders. I really feel the same with him on Raiders. I really think it's a special movie.
I
And
think we
then
have to mention Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
It's
and
not part of the
the Kingdom
trilogy.
of the Crystal.
I actually watched that, by the way. I watched the Dial of Destiny in theaters.
Bruh.
In
It
I
was
terms
haven't
of
even seen that. I've seen the fourth one, which isn't part of the original trilogy,
yeah, no,
but
I watched the
which is not very
2023 one
good.
in theaters. It was hilarious.
in terms of my personal favorite, it might be the Temple of Doom.
Oh wow.
I think it has the best love interest, even though
Why do
she's
you have it at 4 and Raiders at four and
because
a
I
half?
don't think it's the best, but I think it's my personal favorite. It has its issues. I think that it has the best love interest. I know that most people like
The one in the first
the
movie.
one in the first far
I
more, but
agree.
I kind of like this love interest, even though she's like a damsel in distress, like 99% of the movie, even though she has that kind of one redeeming part at the end. But I like I like the setting a lot. I like a lot of the action sequences. I like this bridge sequence. I like what Joseph said, the child actor, I forget his name in the movie. Short Stack, is that it? Round, what's his name?
Short round.
Short Round. Um, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom is the one I've seen the most. I've watched it with my younger brother and my dad a few times, so it's my personal favorite, but I do think it's I think it goes Raiders, Temple of Doom, Last Crusade, but Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom is probably the one I'd rewatch the most. And then Last Crusade is the one I remember the least, but I remember really, really liking it, especially the final act with the Holy Grail is probably like it's probably like my favorite final act. I remember liking his father, but I probably have to rewatch this one. It didn't stick out to me as much as the others. But yeah, I am pretty happy you took Indiana Jones trilogy just because like I really enjoy all three movies, but it's not like I kind of just don't I didn't really want them on my team because I just think there are trilogies that I enjoy more.
All
Okay.
right. God, this it sucks not being able to have two in a row. Honestly, just so you guys know, I'm not picking the Spider-Man trilogy, so don't worry about me taking that.
Okay, which Spider-Man trilogy?
The one you guys
Tom?
are thinking of. No,
Okay.
no, not Tom Holland's. I'm not taking the. I'm not as big as fan as you guys. So
Raimi's?
I know you guys are probably wondering if I'm gonna take that. I'm just letting you know I'm not. I'm also not gonna take How to Train Your Dragon or Kung Fu Panda, so don't worry about that. I know
I might
Yoni's picking How to Train Your Dragon. Don't worry
I
about it.
might know where this is going.
But I am picking a partially animated movie. Paddington, hear me out, and I'm so serious
Are
about
there
this. I
three?
love the Paddington
There
trilogy.
is I haven't seen the
Paddington
third
in
one though.
I
Peru.
haven't seen the
You have
third.
to see Paddington in Peru. It's a
I
great.
I actually don't even, I mean,
All
based
right,
on the
I'm gonna
first two,
explain
I don't hate
Paddington real
this.
quick. So Paddington personally has a really special place in my heart. I am a huge fan of bears. They're like my favorite movie, or sorry, they're my favorite animal, and that's because I love bears. But the reason why I love Paddington so much, and I think I have Paddington in my elite tier, I have it at a 4.5, a little bit above
Paddington 1
Paddington.
or Paddington 2?
Paddington 1. Paddington 2, by the way, which is the more widely loved one, which I'm pretty sure has like a 4.2 average on Letterboxd, which is insane. Um, what Paddington 1 and 2 do so well for me, Paddington Peru, I have it like 3.5. It's solid. I'm just happy it's out there so I can say this is a trilogy. It's just the idea of just the idea of the plot is so great to me that there's a bear that comes from Peru and explores London and becomes part of a family and has issues. And we can go into details of the movies. But for me, what makes Paddington Paddington is just the overall premise and the idea of like a bear can be a part of it. It's so funny. It has such the fact it can be so funny and so serious at the same time. And I know just you're smiling, but like this genuinely to me, I think Paddington 2 is the better made movie, and it probably has like more. There's a reason why it's probably rated higher, but for me, Paddington in 1 is just such a great, I guess, origin story. The dynamic between Paddington and the family is just unmatched. And then obviously there's the villains in both of them. He goes to prison in 2. He makes friends with the people in the prison. They try and kill him. And Paddington in Peru, I'm assuming you guys will never watch it, but I won't say much about it. It's just a cool experience. He goes back to Peru with the family, and they explore for the Paddington's original homeland and where the talking bears come from. And there's a whole story behind that. It's a really cool movie. I have it at 3.5. But I'd
I
love to hear your guys' thoughts
There's a clear
because
plot hole, which is he doesn't have a thick Peruvian accent.
all right. So
No.
actually, that plot hole's answered in Paddington in Peru.
Oh,
But
okay.
but
I enjoy Paddington. I'm not
if
gonna
you can go into Paddington too, because you can.
I'm not gonna like talk bad about that pick because I mean there's no problem with that. I remember enjoying it.
Wait, three. Scroll down. I'm pretty sure this is like a 4.2 average. Scroll down. 4.1. God, 3 is crazy to me. This is such a good movie.
I remember enjoying it. I don't remember like loving them. I remember I liked the charm of Paddington, and that's pretty much all I got to say about this
Yeah, it's
one.
fine. I don't.
It's a good
I didn't
story.
expect you guys to have too many thoughts, but
It's a fun
I
story.
have
I remember
thoughts.
watching, I think, with my grandmother in the movie theaters when I was a kid. So yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Joseph, go for it.
I
My
have
bad.
thoughts, and my thoughts are that I haven't seen Paddington in Peru yet, but I actually
I
think this
think
is
Paddington
a
2,
good
isn't it
pick.
in the top 100?
Huh?
It
Isn't
absolutely is.
Paddington 2 isn't in your top 100 list?
It
Who
absolutely is.
who's
You,
top?
Joseph.
No, Paddington 1 is my top
Oh,
100
Paddington
list.
1? Okay.
Paddington 1 is a banger, and it's like super heartwarming and funny.
It's so
Paddington 2 I liked, but I also was a bit kind of sleepy when I was watching it. I didn't fall asleep, but it was one of those where I wasn't like fully locked in. I don't think you have to be locked in to watch Paddington 2, but like
You don't. It has such a cool double
but
plot
I
line with
remember
the guy
liking
trying to kill him and
Paddington
the
1
prison.
more. But Paddington 2 was still good.
I
But
mean, Paddington
I
in
like
prison
Paddington
and
a
making
lot,
all their
so
stuff pink. It's just objectively like hilarious. And then their escape with the balloon. And then obviously him having his emergency marmalade sandwich. Like, it's just like it's so underrated. I love Paddington, bro.
no, I like Paddington 1 a lot, so I don't hate the pick at all. I think it's a good pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I like it. Okay.
That's just a straight personal one. Love
So
Paddington.
you guys have two more remaining. So I'm just gonna name off kind of like the picks that I'm thinking of because I'm really, really struggling with where I want to go.
Is there something else I can help with?
No, there isn't, Yoni.
Um, there are four that I'm thinking of. Adam named two of them, How to Train Your Dragon and Kung Fu Panda,
Yep.
which I go back and forth on which one I like more. But I probably like Kung Fu Panda more.
I know
Uh,
for a fact one that you're taking.
How to Train Your Dragon.
No, Toy Story.
I'm gonna have to take Toy Story.
It's just such a good pick. I'm not going to debate you.
Yeah, I have to take it. I think all three are like super good movies, some of the best animated movies ever. I watched three recently with my 7-year-old brother, and it was definitely a lot more emotional for me than it was for him, but he enjoyed it. The ending of Toy Story 3 is just like it's I mean it's so heavy.
Why are they releasing 4 and 5? Like,
I haven't seen four, but I actually might see
They
five.
want money, bro.
Watch
yeah,
four, but
it's
like
fair. They want money.
apparently like
I've
they
seen 4. It's
apparently they
not
kind of
terrible.
It's
apparently they
fine.
justify their existence. But yeah, no, Toy Story, just such a great trilogy. I mean, I think all of us grew up on this. Everyone our age grew up on it. Such a beloved like set of movies. My favorite is probably one, and then three, then two. But I do think they're all very
Mm.
close.
I go 3-2, a 3-1-2.
Yeah, I mean, you
So
can switch
similar.
one and three, but I guess I kind of just give one an edge because it was the first, and like they're so even. Like normally, if movies are so even in a trilogy, I just kind of give it to the first, just because it was the original and it kind of uh it started it off. But I also maybe like one a little bit more. Like I watched three recently, and some of the stuff with like I think it's carried a little bit by the ending.
But the endings.
The ending's just like crazy. I guess we won't. Everyone's watched it. The ending, like it brings you to tears. And then I'm gonna think of I'm gonna pick either Sam Raimi's trilogy, the Spider-Man movies,
Such a bad pick.
How to Train Your Dragon, or Kung Fu Panda. And I really need to think about this. Which one do I like the most? I'm gonna go with Spider-Man.
I think Joseph was hoping for that to come back to him.
I haven't even seen three, dude.
No, you haven't?
In
Yeah.
three.
Also, I
But
wouldn't have picked it.
this
It wouldn't
is
be in my next three.
Wow.
the quintessential superhero origin story. Literally everything about this is it's comic accurate, it's funny, it's really just like when I think of Spider
Overrated is the word you're searching for.
I think of this movie when I think of Spider-Man as the character. Everything about this is so great. Willem Dafoe's a great Green Goblin, easily
Yep.
Spider-Man's best villain. I think Tobey Maguire is just as good as Spider-Man as like Andrew Garfield or Tom Holland. I really don't think that there's like one actor that's stronger than the other. I like Kristen Dunst as Mary Jane. I kind of like what she does a little bit later in the trilogy, but Spider-Man 2, I also think is a really, really great representation of Spider-Man. I think it understands and it shows the struggle of being Spider-Man better than any movie by a pretty big margin. I think Doc Ock's a really good villain and I think it really works. And then Spider-Man 3 with Venom, we've talked about it. It's pretty filled, a lot going on, but I think it all works really well. Probably the weakest of the three, but I think this really is like there's not a single miss in this trilogy and everything about it, like the way that it's made and the direction is just like it's so good. Like it's such a good trilogy
Two
in my
was a miss.
Two's a miss? Nah.
Doc Ock's so irrelevant to me.
I don't know about
But I'll
that,
let you
but
guys
I,
discuss.
I, I agree that I don't
It
necessarily
might have the
think
best, two
Doc the
might have the
best.
best Spider-Man battle with him holding the train. Like pretty easy. That's like one of the best
Yeah,
Spider-Man battles.
that's a fair take.
It's cool, but it's
And the
annoying.
building scene and him and Doc Ock having Aunt May and then Spider-Man dives down the building and saves her.
I
Although
watched
I
it.
rewatched all these like a few months ago, and I think that he like goes and jumps down a building to save people that are falling like maybe 10 times in these three movies. Like he does it so often. Like whether it's saving like Gwen Stacy or Mary Jane from a building like twice in one movie or Aunt May. Like he does it so often, but it works. It really works.
Joseph.
I mean, I like the two movies I've seen from this, but so I have no problems with this pick. I think that it is probably one of the best superhero trilogies, or at least from the first two. I'm slightly lower on these movies than you, definitely, but I do think they're both pretty good. So I don't have any like complaints. And I think we kind of discussed these movies more at length in our superhero bracket. So
Spider-Man is also like maybe my favorite fictional character ever, so I have kind of a bias towards it. Like if they were to produce like a Spider-Man movie that was like objectively bad, I would have a very hard time giving it like a rating under a 2.5. Like I just think anything Spider-Man like can work, and this is like some of the best Spider-Man stuff. But besides, of course, I have to mention, of course, the animated Spider-Mans. And once Beyond the Spider-Verse comes out, it will probably skyrocket to the greatest trilogy ever.
Beyond the Spider-Verse will just be a train wreck of a
when
movie.
Dune 3
Above
comes out
Lord
as
of the
well.
Rings
I'm
and
not gonna
Dune.
lie. I'm not gonna lie. This could be one of the worst endings to a trilogy ever. I You just know they're gonna butcher it.
I really, really hope not. But
I hope
production
they.
has
I
like been
really hope they do.
stalled for like five
Why would
years.
you hate? That's so weird.
I hope.
But I
Hope they
seriously
butcher a
think
movie.
I
Yeah, I do.
I
That's just
seriously
weird.
think if
I
it's a
hope they
seven
butcher
out of
Pulp Fiction
10,
as well.
if
I
it's
don't
a
know what
seven,
the hell you're
if
talking
Beyond
about,
is a
dude.
7 out of 10, it's still the best trilogy of all
But you
time.
don't you have all
Uh,
the Lord of the Rings at 5 star?
What?
Don't you
Yeah,
have all
but
the?
I think
So then
these are
how would it pass Lord of the Rings?
because I would have more of a bias towards Spider-Man than Lord of the Rings. Like I'm not like a super like fan of Lord of the Rings,
Hmm,
but I appreciate them as much as everyone else does. Like I think they're masterpieces, but I'm not like a super fan of the
I
world.
see. I see. I see.
But yeah, pretty
All
happy with
right.
my
okay.
four.
All
He's
right.
smiling, which means he's picking the prequels or some other bullshit.
I'm gonna list all the ones that I'm thinking of. Cars is in the discussion for me,
Jesus.
but I'm not gonna pick it.
Jesus, dude.
Despicable Me is not a trilogy; it's four of them.
Jesus.
Despicable Me is very near and dear to me. That's another one, but I can't pick two near and dear to me's. I can't do that. Minions, once Minions and Monsters comes out, it'll be in the running, but again, it's not a trilogy yet.
Jesus.
I love one and two. You can laugh all you want. I'm a huge Minions fan.
I-
Minions
I've
1 is a
seen so
garbage
many
movie.
Minions and Monsters ads in the World Cup. It is insane.
I think I said this, and I've said this multiple times if I've been watching the
When
games
Minions
with
and Monsters
people,
the masterpiece, you guys are going to be
if
silent.
When I've been watching the games with people, which is most games, just like my family or friends or whoever, like, and that ad comes on, I've said multiple times out loud, this looks like the worst movie ever. Like,
Yeah.
You're wrong.
genuinely, this looks like the worst movie
And you're
ever.
going into it with that mindset, just like me with Pulp Fiction when I eventually watch it.
If
From
if
the
you're comparing
trailers,
Minions and
from
Monsters to
the
Pulp Fiction,
Absolutely, I am.
from the
you have the
trailers,
little
it looks like
green
pure
blob
snot.
who's annoying as
Yeah,
hell
Gumi.
just from the trailer. He's so
Gumi.
annoying.
From
No,
the
he's not.
trailer, it looks like
All right,
pure
can I
snot.
continue?
Yeah.
Sure.
Knives Out would be in the running if I'd seen the third movie. I plan on seeing it soon. I really like one. I think two dropped off by a good amount. Um, but my choice is between two. It's between Home Alone, although I think three was pretty weak.
Home Alone 3?
It was
Yeah.
pretty weak.
I've
It was
seen
pretty
that,
weak.
but like that's not even
It's
Kevin.
not like part. That's
Or is it? It
I
is
gotta look
Kevin, but
into
like a
it because
different
Yeah,
actor.
Home
Is
it
it?
Alone
is.
one, Home Alone one is a
No.
4.5.
Home Alone 3 is a different guy, bro.
Yeah,
And then the other one I'm
it's a
thinking of is
different kid.
the other one I'm thinking of is the Hangovers.
Hangover
So I'm
really.
going with Star Wars prequel trilogies. Here we
Oh.
go.
Dude,
Here we
everyone knew
go.
you were
Star Wars
picking that
prequel
shit.
trilogies is what I'm going with for my fourth and final trilogies draft. And I'm going to explain why real quickly. So, here's the thing about the prequels. Everyone knows the third prequel is the best Star Wars movie by a good amount, right?
Wrong.
That's not true, but
It's
continue.
unbelievable, the ending to it. But what makes it so great is one, the original trilogy, obviously, because you know what's going to happen. But two, everyone talks about how boring and bad. By the way, I made up this stuff earlier that I said the prequel trilogy first two episodes are not bad at all. I just said that so you guys wouldn't pick them. Um,
No,
the
we weren't
reason why
picking
you
that shit,
care so
dude.
much about Anakin in three is because of the character development you see him get in one and
I don't
two.
think you care that much about him, to be
I
honest.
absolutely do.
I think you care about him because of the original
Not at
trilogy more
all.
than because
Not
of
at
the
all. You care
prequels.
about him because you see what him and Padme went through in Attack of the Clones, right?
That is
You
not
see
why
their
you care about
cringy
Anakin. You
acting.
care
You
about Anakin because he's Darth
can
Vader.
I okay. So not only do you care about him because of Attack of the Clones, it's the characters that get introduced, right?
Like Jar
Qui-Gon,
Jar.
amazing character.
Jar-
Obi-Wan is much better in the
He's not
prequels than he is in the
introduced.
originals. Much better.
Well, he's in like
Yes.
one movie in the originals,
Exactly,
and he's not
exactly.
the
So
main character. He's
Obi-Wan, I'm
not
going to
one of
count
the
as a
two main
prequels
characters.
character. All right,
Qui-Gon.
Darth Maul, prequels character. Count Dooku, prequels character. Yoda, not as good in
Can
the
I
prequels as
ask,
he is in the original
outside of cool
trilogy.
factor, what's good about Darth Maul in the not in the movies? What's good about Darth Maul besides his cool
The
factor?
Duel of the Fates.
That's cool factor. He doesn't.
No,
He's
it's
a bad.
not.
He's a bad. Like as a villain, he's. I don't think he's a very
He's
good villain.
great. You literally
No,
saw him.
he's literally just.
If you see how,
He,
if you saw him when you watched the Clone
he's
Wars
the
and you saw how he
definition
was
of just trying to
wronged,
aura farm.
and
He's
you
not a
saw how
good.
he was wronged in the Clone Wars, and then Savage
I
No, we're
Opress
said in
talking
the
about the
character,
movies, the
movies.
clone.
it's so
What?
unbelievable. But
We're
but
talking
what
about
I'm
the
really going to
movies.
focus
What?
on is just how hated on the first two movies are for no reason. Yes, the third
Not
movie
for
is a
no reason.
masterpiece and a
Hated
five
on them.
star, but the first two movies, and I'm going to focus on Attack of the Clones. No, focus on Attack of the Clones, not Phantom Menace.
Phantom Menace for me
Okay, can I?
is a 1 star, 1.5
Okay,
star.
you're just
It's a
objectively
two
hating on this
star
for no
for me.
reason. It has great
What do you
moments.
mean
It
no
has the Duel of
reason?
the
There's so
Fates.
many reasons.
It has the Duel of the Fates. But Attack of the Clones, the
Again,
one
that's a 5 minute sequence in a 2.5 hour
not at
movie.
all, not at all. The Attack of the Clones is the one that I really want to focus on, and it's really just the Clone Wars in general being shown mixed with Anakin and Padme's relationship, which is one of the
It's
greatest love stories in movie
it's so
history.
bad. It's one of the
It's such a
worst.
good
It's
love
so
story.
bad.
They
It's
meet
like
when
the
he's
worst
so
part of the
young.
prequels.
This
No,
It's
has to
so
be
bad.
they meet when he's really young, and then they grow up together, and he eventually gets sent to Naboo with her, and it evolves. And it just the ending
I
with
don't
them
like
getting
saying.
married is so cinematic with the score, obviously, is just unbelievable. And I think you guys saying these are 1.5 and 2 star movies, I can get behind you guys saying you don't like the movies, but I think this is just Adam derangement syndrome where you guys know I like these movies.
I've
Yoni, I
had them at
guarantee
two and
no,
two and a
Yoni,
half before you
Yoni, I
even had the
guarantee
ad,
you
brother.
every single movie you have 2 star and above, you would rather watch, or not every single movie you have between 2 stars and 2.5 stars, you would rather watch The Phantom Menace then, and you are completely You are biased by putting it at 1.5 stars. You do not think it's that bad of a movie.
What's the claim you're trying to
First
make?
of all, first of
My
all,
claim is
let
that
me
you're being
interject here two
biased
things.
against these two
Let
movies
me
because I
interject and
like
say
them.
two things before Yoni
I
responds.
I think
There's no way you have these at 1.5 and two
I
stars.
think
There's a
Phantom
0%
Menace is
chance.
legitimately unwatchable.
If you think it's unwatchable, then you
It
have it
is
I don't think it's
okay.
unwatchable, but it's a
It's
pretty
an
great movie.
So
unbelievable
painful to
film.
watch.
Yes,
Let me
it
say
does
two
so
I
things
much
hate the
well.
quickly.
decision that they started Anakin's story as a child. I
That's
think
not
that's
that
a
bad of an
complete
issue.
waste of
Let
a
me
movie.
say two
The
things. Let me say two
midichlorians when
things.
Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon are together and
Okay,
they see how many
firstly,
mid
no. Firstly, these movies, you asked, would rather watch Attack of the Clones or a movie? I have it at 2.5, not 1.5, whatever, or whatever you're saying.
you have so many
Yes, I
movies
would
to
rather
watch
watch Attack of the Clones than some movies that have it 3.
that are just
That doesn't make
slop.
it a better, that doesn't make it a better movie. Movies aren't, there's movies that have it 5 that I'd rather watch a 4.5 than, or a
So if
4
you think
than.
it's so poorly made, explain why.
The dialogue is horrible.
It's
The
not. You
acting
say that
is
every time we
ass.
mention the prequels. They're
It's a
not bad.
fact. The
True.
The
dialogue is
dialogue's just
garbage.
not bad.
Also, you
Terrible.
claiming that I'll just answer for myself. I can't say for Yoni. You claiming that I have these ratings at 2 and 2.5, which haven't changed since I've had this app, and I had this app
Yoni has
before.
changed his. Yoni did not have Phantom Menace at 1.5.
Yeah, because
Okay,
I
so you had it
realized how
2
bad it
instead of one
It's
and a
was.
not
half.
that bad. It's
It's
really
really bad,
not.
dude.
I remember, I'm like, I
You
watched
guys
Phantom
are
Menace,
just
I
hating
remember,
on
and
these.
now we started talking about it the other day on another episode, and I'm like, oh my God, this movie's a lot worse than I remember.
3.5, 3.5, 5 star. Just a great trilogy overall. Again, I don't want to take up the majority of this episode just on this so we can move on. But
One
again,
and a half, two, three.
I mean, you're just a clown. It's 3.5, three and a
Two,
half,
two and
five.
a half, 3.5. So I have the same as Yoni,
That's
but
just a
half
heinous
star
take. And
higher
you
in
know
all
what? We
three.
can discuss Revenge of the Sith. These guys have it at three and three and a
Wait,
half.
hold on.
If you're
I
in the
think it's a good
comments,
movie. It's a three and a
if
half.
you're in the comments, please tell me whether Revenge of the Sith is closer to a five or a three, and we'll see who the majority agree with.
The
I
average
guarantee you it's closer to five.
Star Wars
It's
fanboy.
literally rated a 4.1 on Letterboxd, and you're trying to argue
Dude,
it's a normal
before
take. No, you're trying to argue it's a normal
you
take to
realize like
have
a
it at
year and a
three.
half ago, like when you realize like a year and a half ago it was like a 3.7. It's all the people who are now just getting the app
Not true.
because like they saw it on
No,
TikTok that rate like 10 movies, and Revenge of the Sith is one of them that rated at 5 stars.
Thoughts on
no,
this poster?
I'm so serious. This movie was like a 3.7 when I got the app, or like a
no, it
3.6. Like,
wasn't.
yes,
You're
it was.
Thoughts on this poster?
It's not the best
It's a
poster. If
sick
you want the real
poster.
best poster, go to the 20th anniversary one. It's a
Yeah,
masterpiece. It's the one that I
I'm
have
gonna
on
do
it.
this one just to be a little bit different.
No, go to the 20th. It's just so the people
We
can
Fine.
don't
see
have
what
to
you're talking
show the
about.
posters. You can look at our letterbox if
It's
you
a
want
cool
to see.
poster. That's a
Right there. Nope. Yep. Perfect. Masterpiece.
no, this is probably the best one. It's
It's a
really
masterpiece.
I don't like that it says 50th or what 20th anniversary.
Okay, sure. But again, just an amazing trilogy with the best ending. Probably the best movie out of all of the movies other than The Dark Knight
Jesus,
on this
dude.
entire list. I don't think
Dude,
I have
it's not.
any
It's like
other
a.
5 stars on this list besides Civil War, but I don't think Civil War is better than
Tell the audience straight in their that Revenge of the Sith. I know you haven't seen the movies. Is better than all of the Lord of the Rings movies,
Revenge of
and
the
you
Sith
genuinely.
is better than every Lord of the Rings movie. There you go.
Jesus.
All right, Joseph, you're up.
You mentioned this one, which I honestly thought neither of you would mention because I don't think you guys would think about it as a trilogy, but this is a slam dunk pick for me. I'm definitely picking the Knives Out trilogy here
Solid pick.
pretty easily. I could have picked it higher, honestly, except some of those ones fell to me and I didn't really expect it. Um, I think I have an average rating of 4 for this trilogy, 4.5, 3.5, 4,
Glass
which is
Onion
like
is
Glass Onion is a 3.5 at worst.
what do I
Actually, if someone says it's a 3,
actually
I
I do
won't
have it at 3.5.
add. But like I agree
Um,
it's the weakest of the trilogy just because I think it's the most derivative and the actual mystery itself is the least interesting. And I
yeah.
think it's the least interesting social commentary or just commentary in general. I still think it's a very fun movie and it's enjoyable. And I do think the mystery overall is good, but it's not as
I
good
mean,
as the
Knives
other
Out is
two.
just amazing.
Knives Out's amazing. I have it at a 4.5. I think it's some people just write it off as like a funny mystery movie, but I do genuinely think it's like a masterful film and what it's trying to do from Ryan Johnson, especially like from Ryan Johnson to bounce back from Last Jedi and make this just shows he's a very good director and that Star Wars
He
and
should have been put in movie jail
Disney.
forever after The Last Jedi, but he bounced
Yeah.
back.
Also, I love the ensemble cast aspect of all of these movies. I think one has the strongest ensemble cast. I honestly think the Wake Up Dead Man
I haven't watched Wake Up Dead Man.
I won't spoil, does some of the things the best of any of the movies. I think it has the best cinematography. It's like it's the best looking by a decent margin, I think. I think it's the most thematically interesting in terms of what it's talking about. I will say I think the weakest aspect of it and the weakest in the trilogy is the ensemble cast. I think a lot of the people are kind of underutilized or not really as interesting as characters, but the overall movie I think is very good and I think it's arguably Daniel Craig's best performance in the trilogy and definitely has the best Josh O'Connor as Pastor Judd, who's kind of he is honestly the main character in the third one, not Benoit Blanc. He gives the best performance, arguably, in the trilogy as a whole.
Over
Up
Chris
there with
Evans.
Up there with Chris Evans,
Chris Evans
maybe
was so
probably.
unbelievable in Knives Out.
But yeah, I think these are all I think two great movies. Knives Out's arguably even better than a great movie and then one good movie, so I'm definitely taking this. And it's a trilogy for now. We don't know if it's going to stay as a trilogy or if they're going to make more, but for now, it is a
Yeah, it's a fair
trilogy. So
pick.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of them.
Watch Knives Out, Yoni.
I'll definitely get to them.
Put it on the watch list. Click the
Okay.
watch list
No,
button.
it's on the watch list.
I don't see it on it.
My watch list isn't really like letterboxed watch list. Like
do
I've
you know
only
any? I have a question, Yoni. Have you been like spoiled at all? Like, do you know anything about
I
these
don't know
movies?
literally anything about these
That's perfect. That's the best way to go in. I went in completely blind.
besides it's a murder mystery,
Yeah,
right?
it's perfect. Just go in blind.
Um, but yeah, by the way, shout out, like big serious shout out to Kung Fu Panda and How to Train Your
Yeah, let's
Dragon.
Yeah,
talk about some honorable
Kung Fu
mentions.
Panda was my next one.
I think we maybe could have done five here because Kung Fu Panda and How to Train Your Dragon is like I'm so sad it was like snubbed.
Yeah. Uh, I will list a couple more just quickly. Kung Fu Panda, How to Train Your Dragon. I would say if you
For me,
consider, I haven't seen the fourth one. I know some people consider it like a quadrilogy, if that's a thing, but I'm aware that a lot of people draft the first three of this franchise in a trilogy and separate the fourth, which is John Wick.
Oh, John Wick.
I really enjoy the John Wick franchise. I don't think it's like an unbelievable franchise, but it's super good, super solid. I haven't seen the fourth yet because it's like 3 hours. And I've been wanting to I like every time I'm like, I'm gonna watch a 3 hour movie, I watch like something else.
Also,
And then I also want to shout out again one that I've only seen two of, but the Before
yeah,
trilogy
was just about to say it. I've seen
What's
the
the
third.
Before trilogy?
It's like a love trilogy, like a romantic trilogy. Very good movies.
from a very good director, underrated Richard Linklater, by the way.
I
Ethan
had
Hawke
to
is great in it.
I had to give a quick
So
shout out
good.
to Creed. I think again, Rocky's obviously not a trilogy. There's a crap ton of them, but Creed does what it wants to very well. It's obviously I haven't watched the Rocky movies, but I've heard it doesn't live up to them, and it's very hard to live up to those. But I think those are arguably some of Michael B. Jordan's best performances ever. I think he's great in the Creed movies. He obviously carries the Creed movies, and I think I just like boxing and fighting movies in general. I think that they're very good, and I don't think Creed 3 let us down at all. A lot of people thought it would, and it actually was pretty good.
Mm.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any of them, but I've heard. I've
I'd
not
Shout
really
recommend
tapped
Creed
into the
1. You don't have
Rocky
to watch the
franchise.
trilogy. I definitely recommend Creed 1.
Shout out to Back to the Future trilogy. I think the first is a complete masterpiece,
I've
and the
only
fourth
watched the
for
first.
me. And then number two is good, and number three is good also. Like they work well enough to
I
like
will
hold.
also, or sorry for interrupting you.
Godfather is not really like a trilogy. I haven't seen the third. They're two of my favorite movies ever, the first two, but it
330
like
or
it
300, sorry.
doesn't really work. Okay, you haven't seen number two, and that's a
Yeah,
big
that's why I gave it a 0.
um and then also like if aliens kind of, but like they're not really a trilogy also. So
Yeah.
Godfather and Aliens, like not really part of this draft.
One other one I would shout out briefly. Again, most people, I guess, would say this isn't like a trilogy per se. It's a thematic trilogy, definitely. And I know some people I've seen it taken in trilogies drafts because I don't think trilogy has to be strictly like three movies in a franchise. And that's like the Jordan Peele trilogy, which is like
Oh, Snope and Get Out.
yeah, which I would have taken it if it was more of a trilogy. I think I'm gonna give it an honorable mention because it is like a thematic trilogy.
Yeah, we're keeping them
Um,
as like
but I don't really know if it really counts, but shout out those movies because
But
they're all
Yoni,
very
sorry, could you capitalize the P in prequels? It's pissing me off. Sorry.
any other honorable mentions?
Those are my
Um, no, I mean, I think we should just go overall drafts. Shows if you can start.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings, Guardians of the Galaxy, Indiana Jones, and Knives Out trilogy. So
Solid. I think I definitely won the draft by a country mile here.
I,
I
I,
also
I
don't think
actually
this
don't
one's
agree with
close. I
that.
I
think
think these
Yoni's
are
the
all close.
closest.
I think these are all close.
I think
Actually,
Yoni's the
Star Wars
closest.
prequels and Paddington, Star Wars prequels specifically lost you the draft.
I
Incorrect.
think people will agree with my list the most, to be
I
honest.
think mine's the most like the casual fan will agree with me. I think we can all agree on that, right?
I think
I don't
if
agree
I
with
like
that.
had to
I think
pick,
so. It's got
I
MCU,
think
it's
the
got
casual
Star
fan has
Wars, it's got
Guardians
The
over
Dark
Cap.
Knight.
I
if I
think they have
if
Indiana
I like
Jones and
had
Knives
to
Out over
pick,
Paddington and Star Wars prequels.
if I like had
I
to
think
pick
Paddington's
which of
I
my
haven't watched Indiana Jones, so I can't hate,
three
but I just think
two were
Paddington
the
and the
same.
prequels are both better than the first. I guess I haven't watched the third Knives Out, but like
If I had to pick, like, I could only keep one of our drafts and the other, like, eight trilogies are gone from existence, I would easily pick mine. But, like, I actually think this is, like, one of our all, like, really even drafts. So, like, well done to everyone.
Yeah, I don't think anyone, I mean, I think prequels is clearly the worst pick on the
incorrect.
board.
The worst pick on this by a good amount
Don't
is
say it.
Spider-Man.
Don't say it. No.
I'm fine with
Prequels is the
literally
only
every
one that
prequel
has
on here
like
beside
that has
I
every
like
prequel
the
on
that
here
I've
I'm
seen that
Spider-Man
fine
has
with
bad
trilogy.
besides
movies.
Spider-Man and then Indiana Jones Lord of the Rings I haven't watched.
I like the Spider-Man trilogy more than the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yo, comment your thoughts on that take if you somehow
I
made it
don't know
to the
about
end.
that, but
Drop in the
I don't know
comments,
about that.
That's a rage.
which
That's the first rage bait take we've heard from Yoni on this.
All right.
one,
I
yeah,
think we're
go.
gonna wrap up here. Again, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, comment on whose trilogy draft you thought was the best. We'll catch you next time from the Cinemaxxers. All right, peace out.